Good evening, everyone. My name is Zach Swanson, and tonight I'd like to talk to you about the issue of cameras in our courtrooms. I'd like to begin this evening off by taking a short survey of everyone here in the audience. Who here, by a show of hands, remembers the O.J. Simpson trial? Okay, so most of you do. Now, who in here remembers the verdict? Okay, you're right. He was found not guilty. But who of you in the audience tonight actually think O.J. Simpson is guilty of murder? Okay, many of you do. Well, this is the dangers of cameras in our courtroom. With over-the-top media coverage, public opinion has become the dominating factor of guilt, not facts, evidence, and trial by jury. In America, we know that if you're charged with a crime, you're presumed innocent until proven guilty. The Fifth Amendment of our Constitution reads that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of the law. But in trials like O.J. Simpson, Casey Anthony, or George Zimmerman, the American people throw out due process and decide guilt regardless of courtroom evidence, but by what details of the case news channels decided to broadcast. With today's media coverage of interesting cases, from investigation to verdict, it becomes increasingly more difficult to find an uncontaminated jury pool. When a jury is finally selected, most members will have at the very least heard of the defendant. In my opinion, that is not the definition of a fair and unbiased jury must hear. Regardless of the outcome of these trials, public opinion of the defendants has been changed forever. In 1995, when O.J. Simpson was found not guilty of murder, many Americans still consider him to be guilty. As a result, O.J. Simpson's credibility has been forever tarnished, and no longer will the American people remember him as the great football player he once was, but rather as the guy that got away with murder. The Sixth Amendment grants us, as Americans, the right to a speedy trial and an impartial jury. With the use of cameras in our courtroom, and the over-top media coverage, those two rights are thrown completely out the window. George Zimmerman, a Florida man charged with the murder of an African-American teen earlier this year, is being targeted because of over-coverage of his case. It is up to the police to investigate, the district attorney to prosecute, and the jury to determine guilt. As the media coverage of this case grew, the opinions of many outweighed the rights of one man. What I'm saying there is some of you might not know, but the new Black Panther Party publicly issued a reward for $10,000 for the capture of Mr. Zimmerman. This kind of vigilante form of justice has contaminated our legal system, and it has all become possible because of the coverage of cases by the media using the tools available to them, such as cameras in our courtroom. Supporters of the S-721 bill, which is the bill that allows cameras into the courtroom, use the argument that the Sixth Amendment gives the right to the people to a public trial, meaning that people have the right to witness the proceedings of any criminal case. It is true that the Sixth Amendment grants the right to a public trial, but it does not grant the right to record and broadcast it for entertainment, or as the TV networks like to call it, news. As I mentioned earlier, a political party called New Black Panther Party publicly demanded action from the police and threatened that if no action was taken, then they would take matters into their own hands. The new Black Panther leader, Mikhail Muhammad, who issued the $10,000 reward for Zimmerman's capture, was quoted, "an eye for an eye," when responding to the question if he was trying to incite violence. With pressure like this on the DA and the police to take action and face the consequences, all before any charges were filed on Mr. Zimmerman, is 100% the result of over media coverage and cameras being used in the courtroom. Now that George Zimmerman has been charged and is awaiting trial, what are his chances of receiving a fair trial from an unbiased jury? And if Mr. Zimmerman is found guilty, what will his quality of life be? Will he be a free man, or will he spend his entire life looking over his shoulder for fear that someone who does not believe that he is innocent is out to murder him or capture him, as Mr. Muhammad so politely put it? All of this has been caused by media coverage in these cases. Allowing cameras into the courtroom would do nothing but add fuel to the fire and corrupt our legal system for generations to come. For those of you that have listened and agree that cameras in our courtrooms would be a negative impact on our society, I thank you for listening. For those who still believe that they would have a positive impact, I say to you, at what benefit is the collapse of our legal system? By compromising the idea of the innocent until proven guilty, the American legal system is not the source of entertainment, but a tool we use as Americans to punish the guilty and protect the innocent. I thank you for listening, and I hope I was very informative for you.